Hey, Planeswalkers, Mythras here. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. Today, I got something interesting, I got something exciting, I got something fun, and this particular deck has transcended from best of one to best of three, and I can't wait to share it with you today, where we'll talk about the main board, we'll talk about the sideboard, we'll talk about how to pull those two together and a how-to for best of three, and then we'll go play some competitive Magic in both best of one and best of three for you today. So very excited about that. Now, quickly, as always, I just like to say thank you. I really appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. You can become a member, lots of great perks there. And then additionally, feel free to like the video if you like it. You can like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Twitch to stay up to date on content like this. Additionally, you can keep on top of how I'm progressing in my journey down below with my Untapped profile, or share yours with me where I've included the Untapped app for you, companion app as well if you'd like. Now, last but not least, other ways to support down below or connect in the description. Feel free to hop in the Discord channel. Love seeing you guys, love chatting, and can't wait to meet you. Now, quickly here, Planeswalkers, let's go ahead and talk about the deck today. So this particular deck I've been holding out on some extent, and it's actually right in front of your face there, right in the middle. 5 color shrines, that is right. So this particular deck was heavily played for quite some time, actually in best of one. Didn't really move across into best of three. This particular list I really like because it's nice and defined, has very, very nice capabilities between best of one and best of three. So we're going to talk about this today. We're going to play it, and I can't wait to get into it for you here. Now, quickly, as always, the deck list is available for you down below in the description. You'll have access to it right away. Deck link down there as well. So we're going to do a fast fly over here and look at everything in its totality. Then we're going to come back and we'll talk about each of the pieces because we want to know how it fits in. And then additionally, we'll go into the sideboard and talk through those things. But before I talk about each of these pieces, I forgot to cover the nomenclature or the naming convention. So first off, it is 5 colors because it runs all 5 colors, and I'll use Sanctum of All here, 5 colors. And then additionally, it is a shrines deck because most of the enchantments here are shrines. So that is the key component around this deck. Now, the objective of this is really about locking down your opponents. It's not a early game. It's not a mid-range. I would say it's like mid-range plus the late game. And once you get all the pieces moving, it's kind of like a taxing type deck. So we'll cover each of those pieces here in a minute and talk through some of those things. But to round it out, at least for the first card here, we got Sanctum of All. This is the enchantment legendary shrine that we want. What it does is at the beginning of our upkeep, we may search our library and or graveyard, don't forget, and or graveyard for a shrine card, put it on the battlefield. If we search our library this way, we shuffle it. And then if an ability of another shrine we control triggers while we control 6 or more shrines, that ability triggers an additional time. So very, very potent there. That is a key component of this deck. Obviously, this is the archetype. But let's go ahead now and talk about each of these ones by itself. Obviously, we're going to cover a bunch of shrines because it is 5 color shrines. The first one we got here is Sanctum of Tranquil Light. So this, and what's interesting is each of these shrines are legendary, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. But here, this one, for 6, we can tap target creature. This ability costs us 1 less to cast for each, less to activate for each shrine we control. So very quickly, we begin to have some ability to control our opponents and tap things down. Then we have Containment Priest. So Containment Priest hails to us from M21, and you'll notice that the majority of this deck is actually M21. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But we have the ability to flash this creature in. It's a 2/2. If a non-token creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile it instead. So this is a really, really nice cheat card. It was more powerful with some of the, I think it was Call of the Wilds or Into the Wilderness with the good old bannings that happened. So something to keep in mind with the adventure decks, but it still works well with Ultimatum. So lots of things to keep in mind there. There's other things that this knocks out, but that's how you play this. You play this on the cheat ones. It's got to be cast Otherwise, it's going to be exiled instead. So, and to be a little presumptuous here, I think it's going to work against Xerath, where they pull something from your graveyard and essentially put it on the deck or onto the field. That creature wasn't cast, so it would be exiled instead. Just thinking out loud there. But anyway, feel free to correct me on that one. Then we got Sanctum of Stonefangs. So this one's really important. This is the taxing piece that I was talking about. At the beginning of our pre-combat main phase, each opponent loses X life. We gain X life, where X is the number of shrines we control. So this one is a big component. It's also why there's 4 here. We got Banishing Light, so I really am a big fan of this one. I run this in my mono white deck. Here, Banishing Light enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until Banishing Light leaves the battlefield. So we can hit anything, which is very important, minus lands. We have good old Idyllic Tutor here. So here we can search our library for an enchantment card, reveal it, put it into our hand, then shuffle our library. The big one that you're going to be looking for, ideally, is going to be Sanctum of All, because we get that draw every time, so keep that in mind. Then we got Thirst for Meaning. So here we get to draw 3 cards. Getting through our hand is going to be very important. Then we discard 2 cards unless we discard an enchantment card. So here we get to get rid of some of those extra legendary enchantments we may or may not need. Then we got Sanctum of Shattered Heights. So here, again, this works around our Shrine archetype. It also, we pay 1, we discard a land card or a Shrine card. And Sanctum of Shattered Heights deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, where X is the number of shrines, again, that we control. So very important between tapping creatures down or hitting them in the face with this card. Then we got Legion Angel. So I like this. A nice white card for us where we can still pull from the sideboard, pull creatures in. And what Legion Angel does is, 1, it's a 4/3 flyer, which is already pretty powerful and runs well in the format. And when it enters the battlefield, we may reveal a card from we own named Legion Angel from outside the game and put it into our hand. So again, that goes back to the sideboard piece. Then we got Shatter the Sky. So here, we're not running creatures really. We got 2 things. If you go that route, Shatter the Sky is going to give us a lot of protection from the aggro. So here, each player who controls a creature with power 4 or greater draws a card, then destroys all creatures. So very, very important. Then at our 4-drop slot still, we have Sanctum of Calm Waters. So at the beginning of our pre-combat main phase, we may draw X cards, where X is the number of shrines we control. If we do, discard a card. So very powerful again, and that rounds out, I believe, all 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 colors that we need, in terms of then adding this one for green for 5. So last but not least here, we got Calyx, Destiny's Hand. Here, Legendary Planeswalker Calyx. We may look at the top 4 cards of our library. For our +1, we may reveal an enchantment card from among them and put the card into our hand. Put the rest on the bottom of our library in a random order. For 3, we can exile target creature or enchantment we don't control until target enchantment leaves the battlefield. So very, very powerful to locking down our opponents. And then -7 is return all enchantment cards from our graveyard to the battlefield, which is pretty sweet. Now, we already talked about Sanctum of All, and like I said, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, we're missing green. The green Sanctum here is actually Ramp. You could play it, but again, this was the particular deck style, and I think there's a given reason. Again, obviously, we're not getting the double trigger here by not having it in, so some consideration there if you wanted it. But something to keep in mind as well. This one is just more efficient in terms of what you're trying to achieve. The ramp might help you, though, with Ugin, so you can keep that in mind. So that brings us to our last card here, which is a Planeswalker, Ugin the Spirit Dragon. So +2, Ugin the Dragon. Spirit Dragon deals 3 damage to any target. Our down X, we can exile each permanent with converted mana cost X or less. So we got to be careful because that's going to hurt our board. And then for -10, we gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, then put up to 7 permanent cards on the battlefield. And then last but not least, let's look at our land breakout. We got 27 lands. We got a lot of things going on here, so that's going to be the tricky land base when it comes to the 5 color. So just keep that in mind. We do have lots of scries. We got lots of tri-lands. We're not running the mortal lands, so that could be an area of opportunity for you as well. But we are running the fabled, so you got to kind of keep that in mind as well. Now planeswalkers, so that's the main board. If you do have questions or comments, let me know down below. Always happy to give you feedback or try and answer those as well. Then for the sideboard here. So when I picked up the sideboard from this deck, it wasn't fully utilized, so I actually built out a few more things, just because I thought of the types of decks that you'd play. Obviously, I did the tier list and the meta, and I play all these decks and know the meta very well. I added in a couple things that I thought would be helpful. So first off, they have pacifism here. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. This is going to be big against aggro decks. It's going to be big against mid-range decks that are running creatures. So mainly mono red, Boros Knights, Boros Warriors. You're going to play this against Gruul. You're going to play this against Selesnya counters potentially. You could play it against mono white if you wanted. Lots of different spaces. Then they had Banishing Light. Again, we talked about that already. I would say this is safe to play against definitely late game decks too, like Yorion, Esper, Doom, whatever, Esper, Mardu, Orzhov, you name it. We call it Abzan, all that. And then obviously anything early game, you could run this, and definitely mid range if you wanted to as well, if it was more creature focused, those kinds of things. Then we got Elspeth's Nightmare. So I included this one because I think it's important to have some sort of graveyard hate against your opponents. We don't get that in the main board. This gives us that. It's also good against aggro. Here, because it's the saga, we can destroy target creature an opponent controls with power 2 or less for number 1. Number 2, we get to look at our opponent's hand, and they have to discard a non-creature, non-land card that we choose. And then 3, we get to exile their graveyard, which is very important. So good against rogue decks, good against Doom decks, good against Rakdos mid-range, anything that's utilizing a graveyard. I thought we would do this. We got the Legion Angel here already. We talked about this. You could always, my strategy with this is you could always split it and go 2 to increase your draws on Legion Angel if you wanted to. Getting 3 turns of Legion versus 4 kind of a thing. Still really, really always helps. I've also added Elspeth Conquers Death here for a couple reasons. So one, the saga here, we get to exile a permanent and opponent controls with converted mana cost 3 or greater. Spells cost 2 more to cast if they're non-creature spells. And then for the last one here, we can return target creature or planeswalker. We get a +1/+1 counter or a loyalty counter. So this helps you with mid-range, the late game. It could help you against aggro potentially, but the here thought process for me, again, was the ability to pull some of the things back, like Ugin or Calyx if they're draining you. So you may even want to play this against rogues as a thought. Again, you're not going to hit a lot, but you can get Lurrus with it if they're running a Lurrus version of the deck, or if they're running Zareth, or some of the other 3 drops like Nighthawk. Just a thought there. But then realistically, the focus is going to be either on that mid-range to late game. This really helps against the Doom decks, keeping Doom off the board and getting rid of it for good so they can't dance to the mance of it. If they're running Esper, is going to be a big piece. Then last but not least, I really like this one. You guys have seen me run this in a couple of other decks, particularly the Boros Control deck, which I recommend checking out. Here, Realm Cloak Giant is a adventure-oriented card from Throne of Eldraine. Here, for the 5, we can destroy all non-giant creatures, or we get a big body for 7 and 7. This gives us an alternative win condition, one which is very important because there's a focus on white already with what we've seen. We continue that focus on white and try and optimize what we have. Then again, we get the 7/7 for the beat in the face if we need to get some damage through. And then additionally, it gives us added support in terms of board wipe for Shatter the Sky. I don't mind this in an aggro matchup, so you can definitely play it there. It's also going to lock you in from the body perspective if you need, and give you that additional draw option for the wipe the board and control the match kind of a thing. You're only going to play this though realistically against more creature-oriented decks. It could work well against Gruul aggro. It's going to work well against Selesnya as well. So just things to keep in mind. Potentially mono green food, those kinds of things. All right, Planeswalkers, that is the main board, that is the sideboard. We're going to talk about how we pull those two together across an aggro, mid-range, and a late-game matchup. So first off, when we talk about aggro, we're going to talk about pacifism, potentially Banishing Light, potentially Elspeth's Nightmare is kind of where I would go. Again, you could throw in a Realm Cloak Giant if you wanted, but let's call it like 4 to 7 here if we wanted to. So what would I get rid of? I'd probably drop Containment Priest, even though I like the 2/2 body. I'd probably go there, particularly if I'm going to look to put in a Realm Cloak. Pacifism's going to help you. They're most likely not going to be cheating anything in, so that's a good cut. Idyllic Tutor I'd probably keep. I'd probably keep Banishing Light. Thirst for Meaning. I would probably move Ugin down, to be honest. Getting to 8 mana and locking things out is going to be a harder bet. And then the other thing that I would maybe consider, because we are running so many lands, we're running 27 lands, I'd actually look to probably cut some lands. Just my take, making it harder on myself to find the right combination. But the reality is once you get this, you're going to be set. But you still need to get the right lands. You can just be a little bit more patient. You're going to want to take, I copied myself 3 times there, 2 times maybe. You're going to take your time, get the board under control, get this, and turn it from an aggro match to a mid-ranger / late game match, and that's going to do that for you. So that's kind of how I look to optimize. Then when we talk about the mid-range match, probably not going to play pacifism unless they're creature heavy. Same with Banishing Light. Same with Elspeth's Nightmare, unless, again, Rakdos mid-range, if you're trying to get Crocs off the board or get other things out, you'll probably play this. The other thing that you might consider an Elspeth, and maybe even just one Realm Cloak Giant to have a 7/7 body to kind of deal damage in. Containment Priest might be something, again. Otherwise, you might not need Shatter the Sky, or you could swap Shatter the Sky for Realm Cloak Giant and go a little bit slower, and then still have the bodies, so that could be an option for you too. Here I'd maybe keep Ugin, and then you could always cut lands. So that's kind of how I'd look at that one. And then last but not least, when we get into the late game, these are going to be control decks, things like mono red control, mono black control, you name it with Ugin, as well as things like Grixis, things like the Doom decks, Yorion decks, Esper, Orzhov, Mardu, Abzan, you name it. I would then begin to put in Elspeth Conquers Death. I'd put in Banishing Light. I would consider Elspeth's Nightmare depending on what my opponent's running. And then again, maybe the Realm Cloak Giants. So let's call that like 8 cards we're going to flip out. Here you could look to remove Shatter the Sky, flip in the Realm Cloak Giants. Again, potentially Containment Priest. Containment Priest you're going to want to run against the Ovage decks. You're going to want to run it against Yorion Temur Ramp, which we just did too. You guys can check that one out. So those would be some spots, and then again, maybe some lands. Whew. All right, so Planeswalkers, that is the main board, that is the sideboard, that is the how-to in terms of swapping things in and out at kind of a high level. We talked about some of the decks that you could play against individually and maybe how you move those up when we covered the sideboard. Again, questions or comments, let me know down below. The description's got all the information for you in terms of the deck list if you want to copy and paste, or I'll give you links if you prefer that as well. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into some competitive Magic here with this deck. So let's go ahead and take it down. I'm going to guess ahead of time. There's the Esper Yorion Doom deck you guys should absolutely check out that we ran yesterday. I'm going to guess ahead of time that our Shrines deck may play better in Best of One. I have ran into it a few times. I haven't seen it in a while, so I like showing these that haven't came back in a while, because I think it's important, like the mono blue Devotion deck that you guys should check out as well, that we did like 2 days ago. But before we talk about Cleave here and decide if we want to keep this, I just want to say thank you as always. I truly appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there, or feel free to become a member. You can like the video if you like it. You can like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Twitch to stay up to date on daily drops like this, or feel free to become a patron or jump into the Discord. Information down below in the description, along with other ways to support the channel. All right. So what do I like? What do I not like? Well, I like a few things. I don't like a lot of things. Opponent goes first. I like this because we can look. I like this because we got a body. I like this because we do have some drain, not in the right color. I like that we have Shadow the Sky in a best of one match against an aggro player, potentially. Let's view the battlefield. Do we get any clues? No. View browser. I'm going to keep it. You might be surprised on that one. You guys know I like to roll the dice. This is helpful. Let's see what we get here. That I will keep, because that's going to shore up a lot of colors for us. So let's see if we can get this on the board. Ooh, Calyx would have been nice, but we don't have the right color. We still need the Sanctum of Stone. This is going to give us a lot of stuff. Let's see if they block this. No. I'll go grab it. We're real close. Alright, let's see if we can get Stone of Fangs on. We'll get greedy. We'll see. There it is. So we, as long as as long as we get Sanctum of All on, we're okay. And right now we actually have enough, so I just need him to play something that they can't counter this on. So that did not happen. Grab a red. I gotta assume that they have a counter, but we'll try it. So many counters here. This is a dead card. Share this guy's a dead card for us right now. We'll try this. Oh my gosh. So now we have plenty. We need to get some draw going. That blue one was helpful, the shrines. We're gonna run into some issues here. Oh, good old Gadwick. Let's just pop this on anyway. There we go. So they can tap down. We got Share the Sky. They got a lot of stuff though. And unfortunately, a control deck like this is not what we want to play. It's a really bad matchup. Really bad matchup. So, good old matchmaking for us here. Now I wish I would have played that, because then I could have tapped them both down. We'll get their next turn. Maybe. We'll find out. Did we get this off? If we don't get this off, let me try for a board wipe. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? I couldn't play, that's why. I didn't have the double white up. Did not have the double white, so they're probably going to counter this one. Slow playing. They knew that if they didn't counter that, there it is. All right, good game. Really bad luck there in terms of what we picked, but again, we did see some good components of the deck and how it worked here. But just unlucky in terms of the matchup where someone was running a pure control deck with dimir there. All right, on to the next one. And that's usually how it goes. You play something that's not like standard meta, and then you just get hit with all kinds of other stuff. But then when you play a Gruul deck or you play a Rogues deck, you're just playing all the same stuff. So Pyre's Sword here, or Pyre's Sword, or Pyre's Word. Do we have what we need? We can play this. We can play this. I'm gonna go find a black right away, actually. Or we can look, I guess. Probably gonna pull it first, though. So let's go do that. So we need to get Sanctum in. There's our one. Not necessarily what we wanted. But while we're at it, let's look. We got one, put the other one away. Alright, so we got a Rogues deck. Why don't we look again? Keep that for now. It's gonna get milled anyway. Well, good old Calyx is done. Let's see if we can get this off. There we go. Let's drop our Stone Fangs. Now, we could play Share the Sky next turn, if we want. Ooh. There's the counter. now we'll drain for 2. We need to get Sanctum of Calm Waters on next turn. So these guys are running Dimir Control Mill here. Please keep looking at my pile. Got 13 cards in there. They clearly don't know how this deck works. But hey, a lot of people haven't seen it. That's why we do these. Now, the other thing that we can't forget is with Ketria Triumph here, we can do a few things. So they're going to flip in Xerath here. That's why they're doing that. So we're trying to figure out what they can pull. Probably going to pull Ugin. Yeah.
Perfection is a journey, not a destination. Ghost fire, my greatest creation.
So we're going to wipe the board first. Look. Get rid of that. They're going to get to their -10. We have Banishing Light, which will get us out of the path here, but it is not looking good for us today in our best of 1 matches. That's not going to help us. Let's get this on the board so we can at least see maybe how it works. They don't have lethal yet. Now they have lethal. Alright, we tried Planeswalkers, not good in the best of 1. I figured that was going to happen. I called it, but hey, super, super cool deck. Very excited about it. So we're going to go into the best of 3 here now. Hopefully we can exact some sort of revenge, but we'll find out. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into our best of 3 with our 5-color Shrine deck. Alright, on to bigger and better things. Again, there's that Esper Yorion Doom deck we did yesterday. Today, 5-color Shrines. Alright, Planeswalkers. So, we've covered the best of 1 so far. Did not go well. Kind of said that. I think could have changed up some of the lands. But, again, and maybe got some other things in there to kind of help us out. But really, really like it. We're just a little slow for best of 1. So, maybe we'll see. We hit 2 bad matchups. Definitely, either way, control is not going to be what you want to play against with this deck. You want to hit aggro, you want to hit more creature-based decks. So with that said, though, before we get started here on our best of 3 match, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there, or feel free to become a member. Also, you can like the video if you like it. You can like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Twitch to stay up to date on daily content like this, my friends. And other ways to support the channel down below, or hop in the Discord if you'd like as well. So let's go ahead. We'll play first Do we get anything that we need here that we like? Well, I can play the first Thirst for Meeting. I'm going to keep it. We got a Yorion deck. So this is going to be interesting. If they are playing a Doom Foretold deck, this will be a little bit of a different matchup for sure. And we'll see how that goes. I will keep this. So it could be an Amazon deck. Now, if we could have got that down turn 2, it would have been nice. But again, awkward mana base. So Sultai. So it's probably a control deck, which is exactly what we wanted to play today, my friends. What do I want to discard here? We'll decline. I'm gonna drop one Fabled. And we'll keep the Thirst. I'll drop this one too. Now we can't forget that we could have played and discarded one of these and got something else back. But let's get this one on the board first. Now they got a choice. They can get rid of Sanctum, or they can pull Ugin. Thirst for Meeting's not bad. They run a lot of risks here, though. There you go. We'll see if we can get away with it. They probably got a counter here. Yeah, control deck, like I said. It's going to be a big issue for us. Big issue for us. We hit 3 control decks, believe it or not. You would think that maybe your luck would be a little bit better, but it was horrible. horrible today. So if we can at least show off a few of these things, I'll be happy at this point. So they still got the 2 though. They still got the 2. I'm gonna keep this at that point because if they pop the Yorion, they got the 1. Maybe they got a counter, we'll see. I would suspect they have a counter though. There we go.
Will not let the threads of fate unravel any further. Look skyward and receive the gifts of the gods.
And we lost our Shatter Sky when we did that. I'm okay with that though. We need to get our Sanctum of Stone Fangs on and start draining. There we go. And let's look. Grab that one.
Clothis, show me my path.
So now we're gonna start getting a decent amount here. So as long as they don't have anything crazy, we'll be okay. I'm gonna discard. What do I want to get rid of? Oh, up. Let's do this one.
Look skyward and receive the gifts of the gods.
Go grab a white if we can. Oh, bummer. So we screwed up on the mana base there. So tricky. Let's grab a blue.
Clothis, show me my path.
Let's see if we can get this on the board. Ooh, there we go. Wow, that many cards? It's kind of weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's look at this one. Ooh, there you go. So if they have an Ugin, we're going to be in a problem. What do we want to get rid of? Well, let's get rid of these two. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7. So we're gonna flip in the Giants for the Shadow of the Skies because they're not gonna help us here against this deck. And then we'll go from there. That's a lot of stuff. We don't know what their answer is, but we can use Banishing Light. And if we get a land, we can use Ugin and do a lot of stuff too. So, we'll see. Let's see, what do we got? Take action. Did not hit anything that we needed. Let's get rid of... So 4, we can't kill that thing. Let's get rid of that. Find this.
Blessed by Nyx.
Well, at this pace, we're going to run into a problem of potentially self-milling. But we'll see. We need to get the other Sanctum here, too, just to deal the 5 damage. We got a 2-3 turn clock.
Power without wisdom.
Now, if they can protect Ugin, we're done. So we'll see, though. We got two Vanishing Lights. We'll see how that works.
Has forsaken me.
Reality is
So painful. So painful. Ah.
Then this is my fate. Strive for balance in all things.
Everyone playing Rewind again. Jeez. I'm going to play this out. I could concede here, but I'm not going to do that because I want to see what else their deck has. So it's a Sultai Yorion deck. Mainly I'm playing it out so I can figure out how to sideboard against this. Our Ugin's not going to do anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We did get close. We did get close.
I will destroy if I must.
force him to kill spell. Because it's coming. Alright, we'll see if we can get Ugin on.
An opportunity to act rashly is a chance to fail. Do not ignore my draconic talents.
Figures again. Sultai Control. Very nice, very nice. So we saw a good chunk of their deck. They don't have a lot, minus the control and minus Ugin to deal with our deck. So let's see how we can improve for our next match. And we're going to keep playing this out. I'm going to let them keep running the clock here, because we may, if we do go to a game 3, it could be pretty important, and they may mill themselves out here. At this point. And if they don't have a counter, dropping this guy again is going to do some damage. Oh, there it is. Could have wiped the board, it would have been pretty funny. It would have been an Ugin battle, which would have been pretty good. So they have lethal right now. I'll keep waiting. Let them burn the clock. Because if we get off to a good match next turn, we might be okay. I mean, look, they burn a lot of time here. So that is a part of the game, it is a part of the strategy, and we'll go with it. We will go with it. Alright. Into the sideboard, Planeswalkers. Let's do it. So, this time, I would actually run Elspeth. I'm going to run another Banishing Lights. This doesn't help us. They didn't play anything on the Graveyard Bell. Run those. So we're going to drop these. We need 2 more. I don't mind that, actually, to discard out of their hand. We got 27. So what do I want to drop? I'm actually going to drop one of those. I'm going to drop one of those. We don't need too much green. I'll drop one of those and one of those. We're going to go real tight there. So what's that give me? That gives me 23 lands. Might not be able to do that. Let's do this. We'll go those 2 in. That's not going to help us, actually, if we do that. So we'll drop the 2. We'll go like this. It gives me 25. We need to get rid of 2 other cards. We'll keep that. Containment Priest isn't going to do anything for us. There we go. Minus chip damage. So if we would have brought that in early, maybe, and started chipping damage, that would have been okay. I'm going to keep these guys. I'm going to keep these guys. This just gives us something else to bring things back. And we'll go from here. Alright, so let's see. Let's see how it goes. It's a very slow match. It is painful. You guys know I like to run fast, so I apologize. And of course we hit a control deck, so we'll play first. Do we have what we need? No, we do not, but we can draw. So we get 2 looks. We need to get that down right away. Not what we need. Ouch. We can keep that. So getting that 2-drop is really crucial here. We were unable to achieve it. It would have been nice. So we'll see what they do. They're looking for something. Oh, that was really helpful. We'll see if we can get this off though. I'm assuming a counter. Yeah. Now they hit their drop. They were in a lot of need of that. I don't need that. We'll see if we can get this one on. They need another blue source. That's what they're looking for right now. Let us get this on. Hopefully. Oh, you guys know that if this would be anything but control decks, it would be a totally different game. Totally different game. And my luck is not with me today, so I'm not going to roll the dice again for you, unfortunately. We did get a Seamoses deck, so we'll see. I'm not giving up yet, but we need one black source, and we're not there. We do have Elspeth Conquers Death though, which is good. Now they got the blue source though, so now they got 2 blues, which is all that they needed to put me into a bad spot. That's fine, I can deal with that. But they went for the green. Still get 2 through that too. And this doesn't hit anything they have on the board, which is too bad. Oh, now we get the mana problem. Now we get the mana problem. Good news is I can at least attempt to get that off the board. We know they have 3. You know they have 3. We'll try it. There it is. It was worth it. I would have done the same. I'm actually going to take the goose. That's what I'm going to take. Get out of here, goose. You know, it could very well hit time. We'll see. Probably not, though, but you never know. So they kept their control that they wanted. Now, I could double push this and take out the shark if I really, really wanted to. Oh, the pain. The pain. This is probably, I won't lie. There we go. One of the more painful games that I've played, unfortunately. Well, let's get the other goose. Why not? That's okay. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna hit him. Take that. And take this. We'll do it. Oh, they want to keep their Yorions so bad. So bad. Honestly, if I would have just like had the right mana base here and kept draining them, I probably would have took this match to game, which I don't even like doing, which is unfortunate, but I don't like losing either. There we go. Alright, they have a second counter. Oh, we got it on the board. We got it on the board! Uh-oh. Uh-oh. They have enough for Ugin, though. But we got our Sanctum of Stonefangs on the board. We got it. Oh, oh, there's the good old Ugin. Alright, let's see what we can get here. 10 minutes more than my opponent. I still have my clock.
Not ignore.
Oh my gosh, do we get it on the board? No. Alright, we'll make them finish this out, because that's what we should do. So, unfortunately, Planeswalkers, we got crushed today. Unfortunately, that's how it goes some days. We did hit every single deck possible that we should not have played. And that is how it goes. You hit a run like that, and you go bad, and it is what it is. But I will tell you, again, this deck would probably hold up fine against a more mid-range deck or an aggro deck, despite sometimes, as you guys saw, some of the mana challenges that we ran into. So you could certainly optimize that. You can optimize it with modal lands. Let's go ahead and check out the deck here. You could optimize it with modal lands. That would be one thing I would do. I think that would be a big help. The other thing that you could do with this deck is you could add in the green shrine. So I'm slightly surprised that that's not in here. I get where you're going, Ugin, but I would actually add that in too. It's going to be more of a best of one focus with Shatter to the Sky. I like what they did. We just didn't run well, but we did hit really hard matches. We hit a control and a control and a control. So that is literally the worst lineup that you could get for this this deck. However, with that said, we did get to see the majority of the components of the deck. We did get all the shrines down, minus Sanctum of It All at one point. We did drain our opponent to 10, but that's kind of the gist of the deck. Definitely fun to play. Definitely something different. Obviously, you can see you can get frustrated when you're losing out and hitting all control. But overall, it's not the strongest deck. It's definitely a fun deck to play, and rather interesting, and makes for a nice challenge in terms of how to pilot. Just the control stuff was not a good match. So lots of things that you could do to improve. Again, I took a shot at adding some other things to the sideboard that I thought was going to be helpful. Again, this was a Platinum to Mythic 6+ wins deck. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Obviously, it had came through, and it came through on best of 3 as well. So just not the right lineup that we hit today, I think. But overall, enjoyed it. And hope you guys do too. If you do have questions or comments, let me know down below. Always happy to help. And then last but not least, Planeswalkers, as always, a huge thank you. I truly appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Additionally, like the video if you like it. You can like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Stay up to date on content like this. And other ways to support the channel, down below in the description. Feel free to become a patron. You guys can also become a YouTube member. Hop in the Discord as well. The servers down there, love seeing your faces, love chatting, and all that jazz. All right, Planeswalkers, until next time, you stay safe. I'll see you again soon, and take care. Mythras out.